My name is Estefania Santos. I'm a children's book illustrator from Quito, Ecuador. I'm also based here in Quito. This is my studio, and I'm going to talk about my project or my picture book, The Parade, which is a very important project for me because this was my thesis dissertation for the MA in children's book illustration. I graduated in 2017 and from Anglia Ruskin University of Cambridge School of Art in the UK, and this made me pass the MA. So this project has been a very important project in my life because these have been selected for Iberoamerica Illustra in 2017 and NAMI Concours of this year, 2019. But this also has been a very important project in my life because when I was in the UK, I was very homesick over the summer. So I wanted to remember something very Ecuadorian and very that made me feel home, or like some part that made me feel back home. And I had this memory from my childhood that I went to the parades in a city called Tanicuchi, or a town called Tanicuchi in the Cotopaxi province here of Ecuador, and my grandma is from there, so we always went there for this parade that was always on the 10th of August. And it was amazing because I could see all the mandarins that were thrown by the beauty queens and the dancers, and people were with costumes, and everybody was very happy. And I always went to the summer for this parade, or I used to, and it's kind of a very special moment for me because it's also part of my grandma's town and my country's culture, because it's very folkloric. But I just not wanted to focus on that, but maybe be inspired in different parades around my country. So that's how the idea came together, and I wanted to combine different parades around my country because of my homesickness, and as well because I think there are a lot of richness in our culture, and I really was liking about color and just being cheered up a little bit. So that's basically how the project started. And because I didn't go back home that summer when I was studying the MA, I just decided to focus on this project. And the first thing I did from my sketchbook, it was like taking pages off, and I just worked with a brush pen and decided to do shadows or shapes of the project. So in each page I wanted to show different characters, so more or less to have an idea and to put the characters in specifically order of the parade start, and not to forget some of the dancers, or if there were any specifically characters that were important for the parade. And because I wanted also to show not just the characters in the parade, but also people that were joining in, or the funny moments, also the music band, and at the end the parade's finished. So that's the reason why this project is in a concertina book format. And yeah, so this was the start, and I showed this on my last semester, and I developed from there. Then to have like kind of more like a more consistent idea, I photocopy my first draft, and I kind of added some details with the ink pen, and just to have an idea of the details I wanted to show, and if there was going to be any text. So I just added it just to have an idea. I'm kind of disorganized, and I don't have, like, for projects I don't have a specifically sketchbook, but most loose papers, because I don't want to feel very pressy, or like I don't want to just like waste my sketchbook, and with loose paper for me it's okay. Yeah, So this was like the process, and after this I started to paint in my sketchbook the different characters. So here you can see a little bit of how the idea developed, and that I wanted to represent music. And I also did some observational drawing from bands, but I think that wasn't that helpful. But I was trying to do something. And before the other one, I also have a little mock up here of the characters, or all the things that I wanted to show inside the parade. So here is like very draft, and then I did the shadows, and then I also work on the typography, because I wanted to show that it was very folkloric and very handmade-ish, DIY. And then I just from this I just started, like from this I started to paint straight away. And it was kind of I took my time. It was very funny, and it was like, okay, let's go with it, because my draftmanship is not that good, or I take a lot of time. So I said, okay, just go with the final look, and I went with it. So in each page of my sketchbook I painted the characters, and then I scanned them to put them together. So here we have the religious people, and the car with the beauty queens, and the dancers, and the ponies with my sometimes I draw people that I know. So for example, these are my nieces, and I'm going to show you, this is the music band. And this character is called Mama Negra, which is a man dressed up like a woman, but like an Afro-Ecuadorian woman, and that has a baby that is a puppet or a doll that is like dressed and has a costume the same as him. Yeah, it's very famous in Latacunga City in Cotopaxi province, but this is very known here in my country. The devil is a good devil, and then there are these angels that put kind of some white powder over their faces, so they look all white. And the children, this is my dog, couple dancing with all ages. There is a drunk man that is very happy and is cheering everybody up. This is a dance that is called Tucuman dance, and is with the strings, and they made a braid. I think there are several dances like this one around the world. And this is funny because this is my dad, and actually the guy here is spitting on him some kind of liquor or alcoholic beverage, but is in order for him to make him a cleaning or a cleansing, that is like this person is like a shaman, but it's like a joke. So yeah, and this thing really happened to my dad. So I always bother him that he is going everywhere. Yeah. And there are more characters here, and the characters for the cover, and develop more over the typography. So what I do is just do the characters, scan them, and then put them together. So I kind of did this. I put them together, but almost when I was doing my dissertation very close, my teacher, they told me it was looking very white, and they were kind of like, they were totally right, and it was like a work in progress thing. So even though there was going to be text, and it's like a picture book, kind of informational non-fiction book, because the idea was going to explain what's the character in each situation and what did they represent. So to see this, that there was a lot of white space, I developed things that I could do. For example, the street. Here I was testing some ideas and more research, and yeah, so after that I had like some mock-ups here, but then I said like it's still very white, and I decided to photocopy my drafts again and create a very draft scenery here, based on the houses that you can see here in Ecuador, in Quito, in Cuenca, in Tagnicuchi, and some of them are very similar to the buildings in Tagnicuchi, for example the church or the municipality and the park with the Cotopaxi mountain volcano here, yeah, or like little shops. Yes, so that's that. And here I did this in a big papers. This is Canaletto paper that I could find there in the UK, and here I did like the street. Everything was worked with gouache and color pencils just to have some details, and then I have like the town, and so I can have an idea, and I did a scale at the same scale that I wanted to be printed. And as you can see, this is very typical from here, like the little store that has this clown trash can, and it's very typical here in South America, I guess, and different sceneries. And then I scanned them together, and for the cover I also did here, wanted to make a window that you were inside of your house so you can see the parade going past. So I scanned all these things together and put them together on Photoshop, and this is how the idea of the window and the cover, because you're supposed to be inside of your house when the parade was going to pass in your street. And yeah, so here it is, the people watching or preparing to watch to see the parade, and here you can see the parade passing by, and there's a very cheerful scenery. And yeah, and that's kind of the end. But when you turn it around, I use all the white space that was before to explain all the characters and that were inside the parade. So in this way it's like an informative or non-fiction book, and everything is explained here. And then the parade is over and everyone is going home again. So yeah, here it's closing and the window is closed. I think that one of the most important things about this project is that it shows different characteristics about my country, because Ecuador is a country in South America that has Spanish culture, but also Andean culture and different nationalities from indigenous people. There are a lot of nationalities here in Ecuador, so we are a mix of all these influences by culture and ethnicity that made us the country that I live in. And there's a lot of Quichua communities culture that is from the Andes, because Quito is in the Andes, and also the Tanicuchi and these parades are most based on the parades made in the highlands, in the Andes mountains. And so you can see typical clothes and different characters that come from the indigenous cosmology, and but not so focused, but more like a mix with altogether Spanish culture and also religious, with the Catholic influence. So yeah, we are a mix of everything, and this is the combination of all that. I'm very happy that I did this project because I put my heart on it, and even though it haven't been published, because I recognize that it's kind of difficult to get it published because it's very Ecuadorian and the format doesn't help that much, because concertina books are kind of expensive to print, and also because of the book cover holder. But even though after the graduation there was like a graduation show in London and it was exhibited there, so I'm quite happy that this project have been able to travel around the world, because after that, because of the Iberoamerica Ilustra competition, it traveled to Mexico, to the Guadalajara International Book Fair, and from that contest it traveled to Oaxaca and also other country in the Caribbean or Central America and Chile as well. And because of Nami Conquers, it traveled to South Korea, to Nami Island. So I'm quite happy that I did this. Yeah, so let's see how the parade starts.